just like you don't want to judge a book by its cover, you also don't want to judge a DVD by its cover. What if I told you that this boring looking DVD just sold for $60? And it's not brand new, it's pre-owned. And I got it for pennies at the end of an estate sale. It's like the last 30 minutes, there's a big box of DVDs, and this is just one of the many gems that was inside of there. So how did it get missed? It got missed because it looks boring. There's nothing about it that really stands out. But what you need to know about this one is the title, Company. This won the Tony Award in 2007. You can see it says it right there. This is a famous musical. Raul Esparza starred in it. And the music and lyrics is by Stephen Sondheim. Now, this is one of his most beloved scores and plays that he was involved in. It's very difficult to find this on DVD. So when you combine something that's popular, that people like, people who enjoy theater, who enjoy musicals, and they want to see this in a Broadway production, and there's just not many of them out there, that helps to shoot the price up. As a side tip, you see here how this was produced through Channel 13 in New York. So shout out to all the New Yorkers and the Northeast folks who know about Channel 13. I remember watching Sesame Street on that back in the day. But they would show a lot of musicals and Broadway theater productions, and then they'd put them out on DVD, but for a limited time only. So always look for that and the PBS sign on the back, because that could be another clue that you have something valuable. All right, so now I'm going to show you how to turn trash into cash. Literally, what you see here are 94 damaged comic books from the 1980s and earlier. And what most people will do who come across these comic books is they will throw them in the garbage because they don't have any significant value. Now, these actually sold for $55, and I could do this to them even though they just sold, because the person who purchased them knows that they're damaged. So they could have all sorts of creases on the back, they could have stains, they could have rips, the covers could be detached. You know, it doesn't matter. It could be all sorts of things that are wrong with them. But don't throw them in the garbage, because you know who wants these? Crafters want them. And so I'll put crafting or crafters in the title, so they will take them and they will go through the panels and they will clip out things like these Spider-Man panels, and they will use them for something they'll laminate, something they'll Mod Podge, whatever they want to do, whatever kind of crafting project. There's all sorts of cool ads inside here, like Bonkers. Remember the Bonkers candy? Shout out to Bonkers if you remember that. So like I said, this is 80s and earlier. This one right here is 90s and above. It makes sense to separate them that way, because it always will get more money for the 80s and earlier, and you're gonna get less money from the 90s and above. So just think about that. Don't trash them, turn them into cash. All right, it is 3:30 in the morning. It is so late. I am hanging out with my boy, Teddy Freddy. Yes, this is my Fisher-Price childhood teddy bear. So he hangs out with me at late nights. I've never shown him before, but here you go, first time. It is so late that I have peanut butter and jelly stains on my Champion hoodie right here. And I knew this was gonna happen. And this is the tip. So I actually can't show you what's inside of here because I've already packed it up, but I did show it in the band estate sale video that I did when I showed the Jesus Infant of Prague statue. And this thing is ginormous. It's absolutely huge. I gotta measure. I can't remember. It's over 20 inches. I mean, it's huge. Look at the size of this thing. If you remember from that video, which I'm going to link to up top, and we talk all about it there, the hand was broken off. That has a little orb in it. And I was showing how you could just push it back on and do a repair. So that did take some of the value off of it, but I sourced it for $8 at an estate sale and just sold it for $98. So even if statues are broken, you have to advertise it that way. Just let people know that they have to do a repair on it. And the person who bought it for me let me know, hey, I understand I have to make a repair, but you know, I want to be able to get this because I want to gift it to some nuns that he's working with, and so you know, I'm happy that he could get it at a good price, and I'll make a nice profit on it. But the key tip really for here is that I knew that this was going to sell as a big item that takes a lot of time to pack and everything and get it right. I knew it was going to sell late at night, and it was going to be at a time that I wasn't able to pack it. And this is exactly why I had this packed ahead of time. So it's all set. All I need to do is grab it and stick a shipping label on it, and I'm all set. So sometimes with those more advanced projects, especially if you know you're going to be pressed for time, pack it in advance. All right, what we have here is a $425 eBay sale today. What is it? It's none other than Marvel Superheroes Secret Wars, all 12 issues from the mid-1980s. Now I'm going to show you a little behind the scenes in a moment on how I cobble these sets together over time. Even though I buy out these big collections, it's not typical that I find all 12 of them together in one collection. Sometimes I do, but usually not. So I look at these with a lot of fond memories, as many of you probably do who collected comics as a kid, because I remember these coming out, getting them off the spinny racks, and just week after week just looking forward to the next story. And what was really amazing about it at the time is that this was the first time that Marvel put all of these different characters together into one story like you see here. I mean, don't get me wrong, they did things like Marvel Team Up and Marvel 2-in-1 and collaborations with, you know, certain characters, Spider-Man, Daredevil, things like that. You know, they would team up, but nothing quite like this. Now, you will still, to this day, if you're going through a random box of comics, you'll see a Secret Wars in there somewhere. Now, you got to be careful, because there's also Marvel Secret Wars #2, which has 9 issues, and then there's a more modern set that came out. That's easily distinguishable from these with the older look and the older art. But what you're really looking for is this one from the mid-1980s, and you want to try to get all 12 issues. Now, every single one of them you will be able to come across, sometimes at garage sales, sometimes at flea markets, sometimes even just going to a comic shop. The main exception to it, though, is you're usually not going to easily find this issue right here, #8. This is Spider-Man in the alien costume. This issue alone could sell for, you know, easily hundreds of dollars. I've got all 12 of them here, and what happens, just to show you what all the covers look like, is that over the year, when I'm getting these different collections from places, and I'm, you know, going here, going there, anytime I come across a Marvel Superhero Secret Wars, I pull it out and I put it in my Marvel Superhero Secret Wars box. So that is what is in here. Literally, it's all of these issues. All right, now would you believe it if I told you that there were certain types of light bulbs out there that you could source, turn around, and flip for $100 or more? There are. Now, it's not going to be just any kind of standard light bulb. Has to be a very special type. But I came across these recently at an estate sale. This is one of the places that I'm banned from filming at, but I'm still allowed to go to and show you the stuff afterwards. This was located in the garage on one of the shelves. It's called Philips U. Now, the reason why this light bulb starter kit is very special is because it allows for 16 million different types of color to come through to set the mood in whatever room that you put these light bulbs in. So this starter kit comes with 4 bulbs. Now, it's open box. If it was brand new, it would sell for much more than the $95 that this sold for. Now, I got this and another one, not the same exact one. I'll probably show it in another video. For $25, the estate sale dealer knew that they had some value to it because she had scanned some of the UPC codes on eBay ahead of time. And so she agreed to do both of them for $25. So really good profit already on the one, and then, you know, we'll see what happens with the other one. Very important. Everybody had just walked past the garage area to go into the main house. But, you know, this just goes to show you, look on those shelves in the garage, because while surrounding that was a bunch of other junky stuff, there was valuable stuff hidden there. So don't pass up on those Philips Hue light bulbs. All right, now speaking of cobbling things together, we have 8 comic book magazines here that just sold for $75. What is it? Well, this is one that a lot of people miss, even though you'll commonly come across it. It's called Savage Tales. Now, this was published between 1985 and 1986. There's a total of 8 issues, so it came out quarterly between that 2-year period. Now, as you can see from the covers, they are militaristic, and the way they try to sell them is by mostly putting scantily clad women. I love saying scantily clad, but scantily clad women. I can't even speak. I'm tongue-tied now. Well, geez, what am I doing here? So now we have one exception here, but this guy kind of looks like me a little bit. What, do you see a little bit of resemblance there? There you go, a little early primetime treasure hunter right there. So, and there's number 8 right there. Look at that. So, you're gonna come across them here and there. Now, you might not come across all 8 of them together, but you know, you'll find an issue 1 or an issue 2 or an issue 3, an issue 4. You know, and you could sell them like that if you want individually. People will buy them. You could sell an issue 1 and an issue 2, but I try to wait until I just, you know, cobble them all together from different lots that I purchase. Now, Savage Tales you may come across in different volumes. So, for example, it originally came out between 1971 and 1975 with Conan the Barbarian and another warrior character named Khazar that was on the cover. Now, if you see those are worth a lot of money as well. But the thing is, when your competition comes across it, those characters are more identifiable and more famous. Whereas, you know, things like this gets easily missed, but there's collectors out there that still look for this kind of stuff. So be on the lookout for the military version of Savage Tales. All right, well, it's time for another one of those comic book tips that can make you some big money, even if you don't care about comics. I promise you, it's Conan magazines. So these are bigger than your average size comic book. They're literally magazine sized. Inside, they're black and white. Now, this is a total of 15 of them from between 1988 and 1989. It spans, and that's a key word to use in your title because they're not consecutive. It covers issues 12 through 33, but it doesn't have every single one of those issues, obviously, because we only have 15 of them. So that's a good word you could use. Now, there are several of them that are consecutive. I find these laying around sometimes for $1 or less. I pick them up, and let's say I got them for $1 each, which I didn't. I got it for less, but let's just say that's what I got it for. I still sold them for $50. So, you know, this is Conan Saga, but there's different Conan titles to look for. The older, the better. There are some, you know, if you get some really older ones and you get some earlier issues, you know, you can make a lot of money on. You can make hundreds of dollars. Just depends on how much you have. But that's just a little sampling right there. Definitely look out for Conan stuff. Big time controversy. And all has to do with this issue right here. X-Men number 266. So jot that down because this issue just sold for $172.50. Could I get a cha-ching? Now, it's sold for that price, even though it has a smudge on it and it has creases on it, because it's the first appearance, I'm going to say that in quotes, first appearance of Gambit, who you see right here. He became a very popular character in Marvel. Now, this first appearance thing is where the controversy lies, because this book was published in August 1990, and he had a major appearance in this story. The problem is there is a previous issue. It's X-Men Annual number 14 that was published a month earlier, July of 1990. And he plays a small role in that. So chronologically, it's his first appearance, but the storyline for that book doesn't start until after this one. So even though it was published earlier, the storyline starts after this particular issue. So Which one's first? Which one's second? Comic book collectors argue about this all the time, but this is still a very valuable book, and it's definitely his first major appearance in comics. So always be on the lookout for X-Men 266. All right, so I'm going to share with you some really cool tips that led this comic book to sell for $125, even though it has some condition issues with it. So there's some creases, for example, along the back that run down the spine, on the back and on the front of the book. So one of the things that makes this comic book valuable is that we consider it what's called a key issue. So that means something really important happened in it, such as a first appearance. And in this issue, which is New Mutants number 87, it's the first appearance of a very popular character named Cable. Now, not all first appearance issues are valuable. The character has to go on to become very popular for it to accrue value. Now, this comic book was published in 1990, and most comic books from the 1990s aren't worth much. You'll hear people talk about that a lot, but this is definitely one of the exceptions. Now, one of the cool tips with this book is the red cover. When you see this comic in a red cover, that is the first printing. It's not going to say that anywhere on there. It's not going to say first printing. You just have to know that by the color cover. The second printing came out with a brownish, goldish type of cover on it. And so when you see that, that's not going to carry anywhere near the value of this. But there's something else that's really important, not only about this comic, but about key comic issues in general that could really drive the price up significantly. And believe it or not, it has to do with this right here, the UPC code. Yes, believe it or not, this UPC code on a key issue could drive up the price, because what that means is that this is called a newsstand edition. So it means that this comic book, when it was sent out back in the day, was sent out to newsstands as opposed to a direct comic book, which is this right here. You see this little character down here? Sometimes it's Captain America, sometimes it's Spider-Man, but you're not going to see a UPC code. So these went directly to the local comic shops, the specialty shops. And as a result, since collectors tended to pick these up, they kept these in much better condition. You know, they put them in bags and boards and stuff and protected them. But the people who were grabbing these off the newsstand weren't really doing that, you know, as you could tell from some of the creases on the back of this. So they're still more sought after because it's harder to find them in decent condition, and that's what drives the price up. If it's a regular comic book that, you know, no one really cares too much about, it just doesn't have any value in and of itself, then whether or not it has a UPC code or if it's a direct comic edition, it's not going to matter. But on those important issues, definitely look for newsstand, and you want to put that in your title for sure. 996, 997, 998, 999, 1,000. Oh my gosh. Oh hey, I just ate 1,000 of these gummy bears from this 6-pound bag that the one and only Baritone Man sent me for my birthday. Such a nice guy. He's a member of the channel. I'd love if you go check him out at the link to his eBay store. It's in the description section and down below. It's such an awesome guy. I mean, I ate 1,000 of these, and I mean, it's like a 6-pound bag. It's crazy. Thanks, Adam. This is just amazing. You know how much I love gummy bears. And these are absolutely delicious. He sent these to me for my birthday. And he also sent Mrs. Primetime a $15 gift card for Starbucks. He knows how much she likes coffee. And also sent Daisy a mermaid outfit. So you'll get to see her in that sometime, I'm sure. But thanks so much, Baritone Man, for being a member of the channel. Check out all the great stuff that he has. Let me know what your favorite item was that I showed today, or group of items. And I'll see you back at the next one, everyone. Don't miss the live show at Richie Hustles. See you later, everyone. Take care.